If you're a property business and you're wanting to get qualified buyer leads using Google Ads, then today I'm going to walk through what works for our clients having spent over £5 million on Google Ads. So whether you're someone who is completely new to Google Ads or you've tried it in the past and you just haven't seen results, this video will share with you what works for us. You can apply the same strategy to your business and tweak it slightly to start getting qualified buyer leads who are coming to you. And this is all without having to spend thousands of pounds testing and trying to figure it out yourself. And I'm also going to make it as direct, as straight to the point, and as simple as possible. So let's get straight into it, and I will share with you how you can set up Google Ads to generate qualified buyer leads for your business.
Okay, so first things first, either you've got a Google Ads account, in which case you can skip this step. If not, you want to search Google Ads in Google, you'll then be taken to this page and then you would hit Get Started Now. It's also worth looking down here. You can sometimes get nice little discounts, voucher codes, where if you spend a certain amount, you get a certain amount of free ad spend. But otherwise, hit Get Started Now, and this will take you to here, the setup page. And as I already have accounts existing, this will look slightly different for you, but you hit create a new account. And you're then taken to the setup. So time to hit create your first campaign. And then I'm just going to take an example of a business who are already running Google Ads. So let's say I've typed homes, Oxford to buy. So this is obviously the kind of term you might want to be competing for. Obviously apply it to your area, but let's take this example here. I'm going to use them as a template for the setup that we're going to create. So MCR Homes, so then in this case we're putting them in. Obviously put in your business name, enter the landing page, so that, put in mcrhomes.co.uk. And you can skip through, you'll be taken to a linked account section. You can skip through this isn't relevant and won't really help your performance in any way. It's just extra stuff that you don't really want to do. So the next stage is create your campaign. So you might think that, right, I need to do this setup now. One problem is, and it's more of a recent thing from Google, they have essentially a basic mode where, as you can see, you're choosing search themes and it's a lot more broad. You have a lot less control. We don't want to do this. So what I would like you to click to skip this process is click set up an account only. And you would then want to set your time. So let's say we're in the United Kingdom, set that. And make sure you set the correct currency as well, because you're not going to be able to change that after this is set up. British pound, cool. Move on to the next step. And then it's a case of just adding in your payments profile, which is where you're based, and also your payment details as well. And do we want personalized guidance? You can click no on this, because you're going to get harassed by Google reps who maybe want to get you to spend more than you're currently spending. So do no on that, submit your payment details. What you'll need to do is just verify your card. So as it says, you'll see a temporary authorization. So you'll need to approve that. And often what you will need to do is verify your card by Google will take a specific amount out of your account, and we'll jump over to that in a second. You need to then match that up in the billing section, but what you will click is submit, and then what you should come to once that's all verified is a page like this. And what you want to do here is, as I mentioned with the billing, you just want to make sure that's verified and all looks fine, because obviously that's what you're going to be paying for the ads from. And the first thing from here is to go to campaigns, and you will be able to then create a campaign here. And one other thing, you might see a question, do you want to switch to expert mode? If you see that, click yes. We want to essentially have your screen looking exactly like it looks over here. And one thing that might be preventing that is you're not in expert mode. But once we're here, this is the expert mode. It gives you a lot more control, and I'm going to walk you through it. So don't worry, you don't need to be the expert yourself, but you will take my knowledge and be able to apply that to your campaigns. So what we want to do is create new campaign, and that will take us to this screen. And what we can do as well, you've got my guidance, so create a campaign without guidance. And what we want to do is focus on search campaigns. So just jumping back over here, what a search campaign is you will put in keywords, so homes in your location, for example, homes to buy near the location you're selling. In this case, we've got homes Oxford to buy. And the reason we want to focus on search campaigns is these are people who have really high intent. We know that right this moment, they are looking for homes to buy in your area. So if someone then comes to your website and submits their details, we know that is a really interested lead who is ready to buy at that moment, as long as you can convince them that you're the right provider to go with. Then it's a massive opportunity, and why Google Ads works so well in the real estate sector. So as I say, we will select search and move on to the next step and select the results you want to get from this campaign. We want to get website visits. So we go back and get this. And then the next part is, what goal would you like to focus on? And for this, the way we're going to set up the targeting is going to be very precise, and we'll control a lot of the spend by the keywords we select. So typically when I manage a campaign, it will be focused on, it will have conversion tracking. So things like form submissions, where we set that as the goal of the campaign. In this case, what you can select is just page view. As I say, there's going to be a lot of control and restriction based on the keywords we're using. And what we will then do is select page view and name your campaign, so name it something relevant. So Oxford homes for sale, for example, and hit turn off enhanced conversions. So the goal, all this is saying is the goal of your campaign is getting people to the page. There are definitely advantages to setting up conversion tracking, and feel free to drop me a message in the comments, and I will look to put together a video on that for basic conversion tracking. But for the purpose of this, it's meant to be as quick and as simple as possible, so you can get set up in a day. And focusing on page views is a good way to get started, because it ensures there's not really any complexity. It's just about bringing relevant people to the site. And as I say, a lot of that control is set by having really exact keywords and having ad copy that will disqualify people clicking through to your site who aren't relevant. So that's really the focus of this basic campaign setup. Cool, so then we hit continue, and then we will focus on the bidding strategy. So what I like to go with for this when we're focusing on page views is go for clicks. And it's also quite nice to set a maximum cost per click limit. That means that for someone to click on your keyword, so buy homes Oxford, you're setting an upper limit where it's going to be, you don't want to be paying that much. So I do like to put that in place because it just ensures that there are certain keywords where it might go spike really high and you're paying £3 or £4. The average cost per click in the real estate industry is about £1 to £2 from everything I've seen. It's often 50 pence to about £2. So I would put in an upper limit of £4 or £5 here. This won't be relevant because there isn't conversion tracking in place, so you can skip through that. Then looking at the networks, what I always do is to explain what these are. The Google Display Network is, say, with our search ads back here, whereas this is just Google search ads, it's people who are really relevant. What will happen if you have Display Network on? These search ads will appear on websites where people aren't searching, so it's not super high intent prospects, so we want to get rid of that. And I also get rid of search partners. These are, I guess, similar search engines that aren't Google search, but they're just going to typically be lower quality, so I would get rid of them. And location. So location, this is obviously very important. And what you want to do is, with this campaign, we want it to be super focused. So first things first, you want to select your location and go to here to advanced search. And what I like to do is radius. So say you're selling homes in a town, just for the sake of this, I'm going to do Oxford. Then you would enter that town here and select include. And it's great to start on a 15-mile radius. It depends on the search volume and seeing if there's enough people searching for homes to buy in Oxford. Obviously, Oxford in the UK, big city, quite a big city. So there's going to be a lot of search there. So I would just focus the location targeting on that area where people are most likely to actually follow through. That's a big part of it, because yes, you could have someone who's searching from Manchester, searching for homes in Oxford, and they could be interested, but just the distance means they're a lot less likely to follow through once they've made an inquiry. Yes, they can make the inquiry, but you need to generate sales. That's the main thing you're going to be focused on. So I would do it like that. That's what works for our clients. So start with a 15-mile radius around your location, and if you're not seeing enough searches, you can start expanding that location by a few miles each time if you're not getting enough clicks through your ads. Okay, great. So hit save on that. And another big thing is presence or interest. If someone's in this category, it means they could just be interested in Oxford. So that would be someone in America. They're looking for, if they were searching for homes to buy near me, for example, but they're looking for holidays in Oxford, they could potentially, even though they're in the US looking for homes over there that are near them, because they have this interest in Oxford, because they're looking for holidays there, they might be showing you ads. So that's going to result in wasted ad spend. So change that to presence. We want to reduce the ad spend. Make sure this is set to English. Cool. Audience segments. Yep, you don't need to look at that. And that's all fine. More settings. One thing is, if you only wanted to focus, if you were slightly more B2B, you might want to change your ad schedule to certain days. So you might switch that to Monday to Friday. That's quite a nice feature, and you can change the times to 9 to 5. Generally, I don't do that, but it's entirely up to your business, and definitely test it, see whether that works or the impact that has. And then we go to next. So what this is doing is using AI to help generate the ads. Again, what we want is to maintain control. So click skip. And here we have our keywords that we're going to focus on. So a good way to research this is, for example, homes, Oxford to buy. You can come down to here and you can see the sort of things that people are searching for. So you could take this one, houses in Oxford for sale. So there are two kind of ways I tend to set this up. So we've got something like houses in Oxford for sale, homes to buy Oxford, and another thing could be homes to buy near me, or houses for sale near me. What you actually want to do though is, so you have these two sort of keyword themes. You've got houses in Oxford for sale and houses to buy near me. Because it's location targeted, it's fine to put in near me because it will only be people who are searching in that local area, so it's still going to be very relevant for them. So as well, another thing, if you have a development, for example, or a big range of homes, you can keep it broad as possible here, but ideally you want to narrow it down. So let's say with this development, it's selling 2-bed homes. So what you would want to have is 2-bed houses in Oxford to make sure it's as relevant as possible, and you're only bringing people to your website and people are only seeing the ads if they're really relevant. So we're going to put 2-bed homes to buy Oxford and change this all to 2-bed homes. And obviously what I would expect is that with this, you want to start with about 10 or so keywords is a good place to start. And you also may be aware of different match types. So you'll see down here, if you add square brackets, then what that does is it changes the match types. So what is really important is I would recommend starting with these square brackets. So it's only people who search exactly for 2-bed homes to buy Oxford. If you don't keep the brackets on, it's something called broad match. So at the moment, broad match as well, especially with a strategy that is about maximizing clicks, it goes really wide and just cares about getting traffic. It doesn't care too much about actual relevance. So what I would do is definitely ensure all your keywords are exact match. I would start with about 10 to 15 keywords, depending on your budget, and really focusing on what you think is most relevant. And say we've got Oxford here, which is quite a broad example. If it's a town outside Oxford, you want to really focus on those keywords that are most relevant to that area and are more likely, as a result, to bring people through to your site who are more likely to go on and submit their details. Okay, great. So over to the next stage, we're just scrolling down now, and this is the actual ad. This is where you create your ad copy. So there are a few things that are really important to get in here. Firstly, you want to focus on the benefits, why someone should choose to work with you, and part of that should be included is your social proof. How many clients have you worked with? How many homes have you sold? How many developments have you created? That sort of thing is really important. The next part is disqualification. So you want to disqualify people who aren't your ideal customers. So something that would do that would be saying something like two-bed homes from 250,000. What that is going to do is exclude people who aren't looking from 2-bed homes, and it would exclude people who don't have that budget available. And with headlines, only typically one will show at any one time. A potential of three can be shown, but you don't need to fill all these slots. what I would recommend is trying in the descriptions to include the price point, include how many bedrooms, and another thing that's important to get in there is the call to action. So I'm just going to pause this quickly and run through setting this up for this example and give you a few examples of what this will look like once it's finished. Okay, so jumping back in, I've now added in some example ad copy. So what you will do is add in the details here. So first things first, with your landing page, you want to choose something that is really relevant. So if someone is searching with our keywords for 2-bed homes to buy Oxford, you take them to a landing page that makes it really clear that these are 2-bed homes, they're for sale, and it's in Oxford. And then on the landing page, you have something that is trying to collect their details, whether that's a form submission or call our team, that sort of thing. And what you will also want to do is, you'll see in the display path, this will help in terms of the quality of your ads. So we've got something like /Oxford new homes, and you can see that appears here. If you just zoom in a bit, not letting me. That appears here, you can see. So the first thing you want in terms of the headlines is you want keywords that are relevant to, you want ad headlines that are relevant to your keywords up here. So new 2-bed homes Oxford, new homes for sale Oxford. Then, as I said, kind of get the benefits in, 96% satisfaction from clients, for example, 2-bed houses for sale near me, on the edge of Chiltern. So I think if you get in these benefits and you have about 8 or 9 headlines, that was fine. You don't actually need that many. Anything from, I think from 6 to 9 can work well, is typically the range I go for. Then you have the call to action as well, so that's what you want people to do. Just given a few options here, but if you just have one call to action, focus on that. So it could be make an inquiry, visit our show home, and book your viewing now. And then these are just a couple of examples of descriptions. And one thing, again, it's about repeating the headlines really and adding more details. One thing to bear in mind is there will always be one description that people have to read. You don't really know which one of these headlines people are going to be shown. So it's a good opportunity with this example. For example, we've got 2-bed, it's semi-detached, and is on the edge of the Chiltern, so that's a nice little benefit there. Inquire now from 259. So you know with that you're not going to hopefully get people coming through who can't afford that price point. They're looking for 4-bed homes. And I quite often in all the descriptions will include how many bedrooms and the price point. Haven't done it in this example, but I would strongly recommend that at least when you're getting started, because what that's going to do is ensure that there's no wasted ad spend. People know before they come to your landing page whether this is relevant to them or not, so it's just going to help you out, especially if you're on a smaller budget getting started. But you can play around with a few more variations if you do have more ad spend. Looking down here, you've got things like extensions, and I will go into that separately in another video. For example, you have business name and business logos. They're good to get in. You need to verify your account, which you would do by clicking get access. Site links, link to other parts of your site. What I quite like to do is, say you have this one landing page, you only really want to send them to that. So you can add a site link with the same URL as your landing page, but you can just add in another benefit. So you could add in the 96% satisfaction, and it just adds extra content and gives people an extra reason to click through, even though they're going to end up on the same page. So it's a nice little trick that can help. Again, with call outs, you can repeat your headlines. If it's got electrical charging points at the property, if it's got quick access to London, those sort of things, they're just quick snippets that I would look to get in there, but that's a story for another video. This is sort of the direct approach. They're not completely essential. They help though. So if you have the time, take a look at those. Getting them set up is very simple and straightforward. So cool, that's our ad set up. We'll go to next. Cool, and then it's time for the budget. Obviously, don't listen to what Google says. Kind of go with the budget you have available, and you'd be happy to lose really something that's sustainable, and you're not going to be at the end of the month in a deficit because you've spent thousands on ads. Typically with our clients, we say put at least 500 to 750 per month into it as a test. And if you have more, start higher because you're going to see results quicker and get feedback and data and review what's working and what isn't. So that's going to really help. So you hit next, and then it's just a review page. It will check for errors. You can see it's loading. And essentially what that will do is jump to the page where you can then hit a button down here which says publish. You publish it and your campaign will then be live. So I'm just going to jump back over to the interface because there's probably one other thing I'd recommend doing just to prevent any issues in terms of brand safety while you're running your ads. So let's just jump over there quickly. Okay, so once you've then published your campaign, it would kick you out at here, I think at the campaign section. And what you want to do is just click down to here to assets and you'll come here. So what you then want to do is account level automated assets, click more, advanced settings, and you want to essentially go through here and these will be set as default as on. What these are ways in which Google's AI can take elements of your site and take headlines you've already set up or descriptions and create automated assets. I always turn these off just because it takes the control out of your hands and you really want to keep control as much as you can to maintain sort of your brand image and protect your brand's safety. So yeah, I would just go through these. You have to click off. So if we click this to on, to show you, you just have to go down and click save, and you just need to give a reason. Yeah, so I prefer to create my own and just make sure they're all switched off. I sometimes have dynamic images on. That's up to you depending on the quality of the images of your site, whether they're going to be relevant to the ads you're running. But that's sort of it. And then what you can do is your campaign will start picking up in terms of spend and traffic, and is then a case of reviewing your performance, which you can do in the campaign section. But again, story for another video. That's how you get set up and really how you ensure that your ad spend is being used effectively to attract clients and ensure that it's not being wasted at all. So I hope that was useful. I'm sure there'll be some questions, so feel free to drop them in the comments or connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll be more than happy to help out. But that's it. That's how you can get started with Google Ads for real estate. A simple walkthrough guide.